Hello YouTube, my name is Damien Lemaitre, and this review is on the Hornby Emily model. Most people's first opinion on the Hornby model of Emily is that it looks nothing like her. It looks nothing like her TV model, I'll give them that. Emily, as you can see, is painted green, the same green as her television series model. It's very accurate to that. She's also got the brass dome and the funnel with like gold bronze around the top. She also has the black buffer beams with silver buffers. Emily was first seen in Series 7. When she was introduced, her buffers were actually painted bronze, but when it came to Series 8, her buffers were painted silver. They've remained like that ever since. This model captures that again quite beautifully. Her face resembles her Series 8 face. The only issue is that it's far too big and takes up a whole smoke box, whereas it only took up a little bit of her smoke box on the actual television series. Emily has a yellow gold lining. This is shown very well, the model does well on that. It's also quite accurate on the tender. As I said, this is actually, Emily, as you know, is a Stirling engine and has side rods, but this one isn't, and has no side rods at all. However, it does have the two larger drive wheels. All the 10 size of the wheels on the tender and the back here and the driving wheels are all more or less the correct size, like Emily. And the bogie wheels on the front, however, are very, very small and not the right size. Another issue with the model is that you can more or less see the wiring. As I've said, I always 100% give my opinion and tell the truth. When I first bought this model, it wasn't a very good runner. It couldn't pull anything at first. It used to, I could give it a train, I don't know, about say 8 trucks, and it wouldn't be able to pull them because the wheels would just spin and spin, the driving wheels. However, I've got a brother who works in a model shop, so I used to work in a model shop, and he added some lead inside to make it just a bit heavier, and did the same on the tender as well, so it's a bit heavier. And ever since then it runs a lot better. Sometimes when it starts it gets a bit of wheel spin, but once on the move it does run very, very well around the layout. Here we have Emily's tender. One thing I definitely don't like is the fact that it's got plastic wheels. I prefer metal wheels, and the amount of money that it cost, you'd have thought they'd have been metal wheels. It also has some removable coal, and like I said, they've put these like stumps in there so you can help take the coal on and off. But I think it would have been better if you could just push your finger underneath and take it off. So you can remove the coal, and you can see there was a bit of lead that my brother added to weigh it down a bit. Like I said, when I first got it, the front used to just bob up and down, and it never used to move anywhere really. It couldn't manage, like the real Emily on Thomas Tank Engine, it couldn't manage anything. Her running plate is painted black here, whereas it was the grey colour as most of the engines. This isn't the only engine to have the wrong colour running plate. There's other engines, like I know Thomas has a blue one, Percy's got a green one, so it's not 100% accurate, but to be honest, I think if they had to choose a colour, although I'd rather it have been the proper grey, I think it's better to be black than green, to be honest, because it looks just that bit more realistic, even if it's not realistic to a television model. Like I said, to look at the top of Emily, like here, it is sort of accurate. Like I said, she's got these boxes here, like the brown bits there. Again, the real Emily, as we called real Emily, the one in the television series, she was never in the railway series, of course, didn't have. Like I said, she's got a brass dome, which looks quite accurate, but then there's the smoke box bit there. And, yeah, so there's a bit of a lump there. Again, it's not necessary. I say brass dome, it's actually a safety valve. Sorry, a safety valve. That's the mistake that the television series made. One thing I think is really good about this model is that you can actually, they've painted all the details inside. And obviously we looked at other models like Edward and Henry, and that detailing wasn't there. And I think, that is superb, the detailing there. And it really does, in some ways, change my view overall of the model. So that is obviously, I'm not going to try and get too lured away sort of thing, but I think that's really good and definitely a plus. So there's no other Hornby models in the Thomas range I know that do that. That is really impressive. I bought this model of Emily from a shop in Rushden, not far from me, called Osborne's. And as you can see underneath, she was actually built in 2006. The model was actually due to be released in 2006, but there was a bit of a delay, and it didn't come out until about 2007. And my birthday's, so I was about 40, in 2007. I'd have been 14, and so yeah, that was a present, and it was about £82. And the other day I was in Elsbarton, and I actually bought these 2 trucks. So you can see the J's logo there. So I got these 2 trucks. And if you are in Elsbarton, you may be interested to know that they actually had 3 Hornby Emilys in there. And they have quite a few other discontinued engines. They didn't have Bill and Ben or Oliver, but they did still have some other discontinued engines. Here we have Emily's box. Like all the Thomas range, she's a really well packaged engine, and this is one of the old style sort of boxes. They changed from about 2009, 2010. The style of the box has changed. Like I said, this is 2006, so a bit more older. So I mean, 2006. It's about about 8 years old. So it's really well packaged. Again, it comes with the instructions. So I can't fault the package on the Hornby engines. It's a lot better than the Bachmann range, as we've discussed in the past. Another thing that's not quite accurate on Emily is her cab roof. So as you can see, it's painted black. Black seems to be a very common colour. So you've got a black running plate that's not necessary, a black roof that's not necessary. As you know, it was green like at Emily, and the wheels themselves are actually painted black, and this isn't accurate. Another thing that I do quite like about Emily is the fact that she's actually Loco driven. The first time in all this review, she's a own tender engine that's Loco driven. Like I said, there was some problems with her at first, so I explained earlier, but it's now that you've done them sort of things, it runs a lot better. Another thing I like is that she is a lot easier to couple up than the other tender engines as well. Again, that's a bit of a plus. It's quite nice to be able to couple them up properly. Despite the Hornby Emily looking nothing like Emily in the TV series, it is still a very good and detailed model. You can't I don't think anyone can deny that. Of course, I do have to, when giving my overall scoring, I do have to be honest of what on it looks and how it is compared to, as we say, the real Emily. In comparison to Edward, who got a low one. Edward got 7 out of 10. Again, he was more or less just over average. I don't quite feel I can do the same with the Emily model. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I think that's very reasonable. There is, of course, a Bachmann Emily, and the good thing about the Bachmann Emily is that it comes with her own coaches. Emily was, in her very first episode, Emily's new coaches, received some coaches after rescuing Oliver. From about series 17 onwards, though, and in particular in series 18, she's not been pulling her own coaches for some odd reason, which is a bit of a shame. I guess it's a bit like Toby. The Hornby Toby don't have a coach, but the Bachmann ones, again, they do have they have Henrietta in the Bachmann range. Thank you very much for watching my review. Next time we will be reviewing an engine a lot bigger and a lot more powerful. It is, of course, Spencer.